Hey guys, this is Venom coming at you with another build video today. Today we're going to be talking about the 1-bar heavy attack Magblade. We'll jump straight into the gear sets. We have a lightning staff with the sergeant, precise straight, weapon and spell damage glyph. I like the weapon and spell damage glyph better than a flame or shock glyph. I'm usually fighting multiple targets, so this will allow you to deal damage with all your AoEs and everything in the area to all the enemies, rather than just one enemy taking that little bit of glyph damage. You will get higher DPS on a single target running the flame or shock glyph. But for me, what I do most of the time, this is what I like. The gear is all divines, max magic enchant all the way down. Head is a light slime crawl. Chest is your heavy sergeants. The sergeant, whenever you deal damage with a heavy attack, you gain sergeant's focus 5 seconds, increasing the damage of your heavy attacks 645 per stack. This can occur once every second and stacks up to 4 times. The other set I like to run with this is Infallible Aether. Yes, I know that Infallible Aether and Oaken Soul, they both give Minor Slayer. However, Infal is like having a perfected set. You get a double 5-piece. So just think of it as just something extra. I mean, so yeah, it gives you crit chance, the Minor Slayer, weapon and spell damage, another crit chance. And then your heavy attacks deal an additional 900 damage to enemies. You damage with a fully charged heavy are affected with minor vulnerability for 10 seconds, increasing their damage taken another 5%. So the way that this works, your sergeants and your infal, those numbers may look low, like 645 or 900, but they work with every tick across the channel. So right now, Lightning Staff has 3 ticks, so it's multiplied by 3. All right. The rest of it is infal all the way down, your waist, hands, legs, feet. Jewelry is Sergeant, Bloodthirsty, weapon and spell damage. Oaken Soul, Bloodthirsty, weapon and spell damage. And that's it for the gear. We'll jump into the skills. Now, the cool thing about the Magblade is he has a lot of different skills. A lot of this stuff is interchangeable. You may like something different than I like, but the important thing is you want to make sure that you have your dots down, and those are cooking while you have a good spammable going off and a way to self-sustain. So for me, this is what I like, but you may like something different. I have the Dark Shade. So here lasts 22 seconds, deals magic damage. Every 2 seconds, the shade attacks. It inflicts minor maim, reducing the enemy's damage done by 5%. That's pretty good to have in the group. The Unstable Wall, another dot, but you can also use this as an AoE explosion. When the effect ends, the barrier explodes, dealing shock damage. So if you recast your skill, it causes the explosion to trigger again. So you can have an AoE explosion going off. This is your single target spammable Swallow Soul. It's also a way to sustain. Kind of like on the Sork when you would use Crit Surge to get that heal coming. Well, this right here will heal you every 2 seconds for 10 seconds for 41% of the damage you deal. You steal the enemy's life force, dealing magic damage. Yeah, it's good. Piercing Mark. Now you can swap this out for elemental susceptibility. You can swap it out for Twisting Path, depending on the group you're in. If someone's already given your group the major breach, and you can put on a different assassination ability. I run this because of the passives. It's going to give you the extra crit, and we'll talk about that in a second. Right here it says you can detect marked enemies even if they use stealth or invisibility for 3 seconds. That's good in PvP. If they die, you heal to full health. For your heal, I like Shrewd Offering. You heal yourself or an ally in front of you while draining 810 health from you. That doesn't even matter. You get it right back. For your ult, Thunderous Rage, I think this is the best burst AoE ultimate available. So a lot of these skills here, as I was saying a minute ago, they are interchangeable. The important thing is that you find your dots that you can put out there and then have a spammable and a way to sustain. So if you got something that you like different, by all means, swap it out, but just make sure that when you're doing your channel attack in the middle of it, go ahead and hit your spammable so that it fires at the end of it, and then you're right back into your heavy. For the assassination skills, I was saying that I will run the piercing mark, but you may want to run merciless resolve if you're in a group where people are already doing the major breach. You can put on your assassination skills here if you want, like impale, or the other morph if you're a lot closer. I think the other one's like 5 meters away you have to be for the stamina version. I think it does like 400% more damage, and the tooltip's a little bit higher, and it works at 50% health. So being the other morph is pretty powerful, but myself, I like to be further away than 5 meters. I've been in too many dungeons and stuff like that, and trying to do these trifectas, and there's some crazy AoE on the ground, and you're 5 meters away, and just bloop, fall over. So I like to play further away. It's the point of playing a heavy attack build. So if you do want to run further away, you want to run the assassination skill. If someone's already doing major breach, impale I think is a better choice because it works from 28 meters away. Or you can run merciless resolve. When I'm testing between these two, there's not really any damage difference. I mean, I get basically the same overall damage between impale and merciless resolve. So I mean, whichever one you want to run, there's times that I feel like this skill right here gets a little clunky, and then there's other times it seems it works good. I don't know if it's dependent on the lag. Maybe I'm just not doing it right. I don't know. But, for me and my group, most of the time I will run this right here to make sure this stuff is, got the major breach on it. If I actually have a tank in my group, then I'll swap out and put on merciless resolve. Your passives, I mean, obviously you should have your passives in all your skill lines. What I was saying a minute ago about having at least one of the assassination skills on your bar is just to get, your extra critical ratings. It's 438 for each assassin ability slotted. For the shadow, you can, substitute any of these here that you like. There's some utility functions you need to do, like a fear or whatever, I don't know, but there might be something that you need to do in there. Twist and Path is a pretty good choice as well. This will give your team major expedition if you're trying to do like some speed runs and you want to make sure everybody is going as fast as possible getting to the target. This is pretty good to put on. It's going to deal magic damage every 1 second. It's not a terrible skill. Underneath the softening here, you can put on sap essence. Sometimes I will do this, like where we're running the wall up here. The wall is an 18 by 8 meter area. This works in an 8 meter area. If you're waiting around, I don't know, maybe you're helping someone run Skyreach or something like that, and you're just wading through the enemies, by all means, take off the wall and put on sap essence. Not only is the tooltip higher than the explosion that the wall will give you, but it's going to also heal you and your allies plus 20% for each enemy hit. So that's good to put on in certain situations. If you're really close to the enemies, depending on what you're doing, by all means swap that out. Crippling Grasp, I need to talk about this for a minute. So I don't know why more people don't run this. Sometimes I'll go out goofing around and open Cyrodiil, and I just find this hilarious. You got these people that like to go run around these rocks and these trees, and I'm like, yeah, no. Sap an enemy's agility to rack them with pain. It deals magic damage plus magic damage over 20 seconds. It immobilizes them for 2 seconds, reducing their movement speed 30% for 4 seconds. So many times I've seen people trying to run away, and that's what they do. They go dollhouse around a rock or a tree. They, follow me up and down the tower. Crippling Grasp is hilarious. I mean, it's just for the comedic value alone, it's worth putting on your bar if you ever venture out into Cyrodiil. Let's see. You know, the destruction staff, sometimes, you know, depending on the content, what you're in, you may want to have an interrupt. Crush and shock is good to put on. I will swap it out occasionally. Like for my wall, I'll put on crush and shock. It's an excellent spammable as well. Light armor, heavy. Let's see here. Your fighter's guild, you should have these passives right here on the Banish the Wicked. It's going to generate 3 ultimate whenever you kill an enemy. Of course, you're undaunted. And we'll jump into the champion tree here. So for the blue tree, it's the same as I have on my Sork and most heavy attack builds. So you got Fighting Finesse, Weapons Expert, Deadly Aim, Wrathful Strikes. I will occasionally swap out Deadly Aim for Mastered Arms. If I'm parsing, you want to get higher parse numbers. I get a little bit higher numbers running Mastered Arm than I do Deadly Aim. But the reason I have Deadly Aim on, I feel like it is better in-game than Mastered Arms. Enemies like to move around. You know, they don't sit there like a target skeleton all the time. They like to move. So if you want to make sure that you're dealing as much damage on targets that like to move around, I think Deadly Aim is better in-game slightly than Mastered Arms. But if you're working on, say, maybe you're doing Sunspire, you know, or something that's a boss that doesn't move, or you're trying to parse, I get a little bit higher damage on Mastered Arms. For the red tree, Strategic Reserve. This is an excellent slottable to have. I mean, I don't know why anybody would want to not run this. You gain 30 health recovery for every 10 ultimate you have. As long as you have that health recovery coming in, you don't have to stop and throw a heal. It allows you to just keep pumping damage. It's going to actually increase your overall DPS, because anytime you have to do something that's not a damage skill, like you're throwing a heal, it's a loss of DPS. This will allow you to sustain and keep that health coming, and you just keep pumping that damage. Slippery. This is going to automatically break you free if you get, you know, CC'd or whatever for every 21 seconds. If you go into Skullcaller Peak, I like to remind people this every time I go in there. There's mechanics in that dungeon you need to get frozen in. Take this off your tree. Otherwise, you're going to die. Fortified gives you some more armor, boundless vitality, some more health. And the green tree is still run-of-the-mill. Treasure Hunter, Rationer, Meticulous Disassembly, and Steed's Blessing. Jump into the character sheet. You got 64 points in Magicka. The food, what do you know? It's glitched out again. 0 by 0. This is just blue food. Max health, max Magicka. And finally is the Shadow Mundus Stone. Alright, so what I was saying a minute ago about your rotation, you just want to pull out your shade, throw your wall, start your heavy, and then start hitting your spammable. And you're just going to do your spammable until your wall explodes and then reapply. And that's it. As simple as a rotation is. Alright, if you guys enjoy the video, please like, follow, and subscribe. We'll try to get back to you with another one. Later.